This is a clip of Arsenal building up in the previous season to appear in the opponent's shape. Now, take a look at how they build up this season. Most dangerous teams in Europe. But what exactly are these changes? And how did the new signings make Arsenal a complete team? Arsenal faced problems when trying to play out of the first phase of the build-up. Against teams who are hyper-aggressive with their pressing, a recurring issue appeared. As teams figured out that the main way Arteta likes to progress the ball is through the central channels, they would simply overload these areas while also man-marking the pivots. This had the effect of forcing the ball out wide, from where they could simply tilt their press and force errors in the build-up. The main issue was that Arteta lacked a pivot who was not only good under pressure but also capable of making progressive passes to get the team on the front foot. More inconsistent with his progressive passing over the seasons, Martin Odegaard was instructed to drop deep and act as the deep-lying playmaker. However, this left the central zones unoccupied, leading to a slow tempo and no immediate danger to the opposition's block. The arrival of Zubimendi has brought central stability to the team's build-up. With Zubimendi anchoring, Rice and Odegaard can push higher, staying in advanced areas. Rice can make these forward runs, which he is quite effective at, while Odegaard benefits from faster, riskier passes ahead of him. And in phases where the opposition looks to create a central overload, Zubimendi can drift out wide, freeing up space for fullbacks like Lou against well-coordinated defenses. Even with the lion's share of possession, Arsenal often struggled to create real openings on the pitch. The idea is simple. Draw the press in, then quickly switch play to create 1v1 situations for the wingers on the far side. And with the addition of a more traditional target man, we're seeing more direct long passes, an effective way to move the ball into dangerous areas instantly. However, against teams with strong aerial dominance, this can become less effective. So when that happens, opposition forms a compact mid-block. Arsenal's center backs split on a staggered line. This setup provokes the press. They'll play quick bounce passes into midfield to attract attention. And once the press is engaged, Arsenal drops slightly deeper. This movement forces the opposition to commit forward, and that's when the space between the lines opens up. A quick vertical pass then catches the backline completely exposed, almost as if Arsenal were counter-attacking from open play. These situations are what we call artificial transitions. By adding these extra layers to their build-up, Arsenal are now generating more chances, and doing so more frequently. They have faced in past seasons is when they are playing against low blocks. To combat teams that utilize a low block, you need individual disruptors, players who are good in tight spaces and can pull the opposition's defense. But on the left, it often comes down to quick combinations or overlapping runs. This is because Martinelli thrives in high-tempo transitions and off the main creative outlet in the team on that side. To solve this issue, Arteta signed Noni Madueke and Eze, two players who were strong in tight spaces and capable of operating in multiple positions. Tactically, they offer something that the team lacked in previous seasons and allow the team to be more flexible. Fifth across Europe's top 5 leagues for progressive carries, and is currently ranked in the top 5 for carries into the opposition's penalty area in the Premier League. Eze, on the other hand, ranked 5th for successful take-ons in the Premier League and already sits at 4th for expected assists per 90. These stats show how essential the pair can be for Arsenal when playing against opponents who like to sit back and limit in tight spaces and thrive in 1-versus-1 scenarios where they can use their excellent ball-carrying ability to beat defenders and get the ball into dangerous areas. Because of this threat, the opposition is forced to commit multiple markers to track their movements, which breaks their defensive structure and frees space for other teammates to occupy. Previously, Arteta utilized inverted wingers on both flanks. Because the natural inclination of an inverted winger is to cut onto their stronger foot, the opposition can easily predict this repetitive action. Madueke, on the other hand, is two-footed and is comfortable cutting infield or going out wide to make dangerous cutbacks on either flank. This gives the team a lot more fluidity in how they can attack, as he can either hold up play and wait for other wide players to overlap, or be the one inverting into the half spaces to create room for a shot. This unpredictability is huge when facing defensive blocks that are set up to force players wide. It means defenders can't show him to one side. He'll happily take either. That keeps fullbacks guessing, opens space for inside runners, and allows Arsenal to create mismatches more consistently. To Madueke, and as you can see by both defenders' body shape, what they are trying to prevent is this ball into timber, where most inverted wingers would be forced to make this pass due to the inside channel being closed off by the opposition. Madueke is at his best in situations like these. A drop of the shoulder and around the defender he goes. This one action is enough to put the entire backline in a panic, and as they shift to protect the space in front of goal, Timber, who was tightly marked moments ago, now becomes free and is inches away from scoring a tap-in. Arsenal did not score here, but this is just one example of how Madueke adds diversity to Arsenal's attack. Victor Gyökeres. He might not be a household name in the Premier League just yet, but tactically, he might be exactly what Arteta needs to take Arsenal to the next level. Already well known that Arteta's system demands more than just finishing. Arteta demands intense pressing from his forwards. They must be willing to close down center backs, which helps to trigger pressing traps from the front. His forwards must also drop to help with defensive work in midfield when necessary. Currently, Gyökeres ranks among the top forwards in successful pressures and defensive actions per 90. His willingness to press sets the tone for the rest of the team. Kai Havertz fits this requirement, but he lacks two key traits: clinical finishing and a constant penalty box presence, which are important for high-scoring teams. Victor Gyökeres fixes this problem. As mentioned previously, Arsenal's biggest struggle in previous seasons was scoring against a low